I'm thrilled to introduce our next guest, Alex Cho. Alex is the president for personal systems at HP, and Alex is someone that has a number of messages that are really resonating right now around future of work and work from home. And I think it's going to be just a great conversation today with him.
Yeah, HP's been doing some really compelling research around the needs of customers today on the backdrop of pandemics and also generational needs, even with Gen Z, that I think you're going to find very interesting.
Hi, everyone. I'm Alex Cho, President of Personal Systems at HP, and welcome to the device track of the 6.5 Summit. It's great to be here and virtually. It's interesting. A few months ago, the idea of doing an event like this virtually would have felt kind of foreign. And yet today, this is pretty much how all of these type of events are being run. We think this is actually the beginning of a much larger shift where the PC is far more significant for a lot more of what we do in life and in work and also at play. The PC is very much essential now, and that is what we believe will be a driver for a lot of new innovations in this industry. The world is very different today than it was just 3 months ago. Our houses feel far more crowded because we're all in them all day long. Work is very different, with many of us working out of the office and in our homes. Classrooms are fundamentally different because they're often on kitchen tables or in bedrooms or in family rooms. Everyone is adapting during this time. But one thing is true, and that is that technology is helping us to adapt. And this is a very powerful time. As difficult and disruptive as COVID is, we're finding that technology is helping us stay connected. It's helping us stay productive. It's helping us to learn. And it's helping us to ensure that we are being cared for. And that is a very significant role that technology is playing. And that is why we are saying the PC is essential now. It wasn't long ago, maybe a few years ago, in fact, when many were saying that the PC was dead. I remember thinking that that was a very low view of this category when I knew that there was more opportunity in computing. Recently, we'd been encouraged because the PC was becoming increasingly relevant. The next generation was spending more time on higher engagement activities, whether it might be creating, consuming content, or even connecting and collaborating with other people. But now, during this time of COVID and what we believe is the beginning of really a new normal, the PC is essential. And it's essential for many aspects of our lives. So let's talk about that. When it comes to work, as you know, work doesn't happen unless you're connected. But as well, in our personal lives, the PC helps us stay connected to other people, especially during this time. 57% of people say that they use the PC to stay close to the rest of their family and friends. I can certainly attest to this. In fact, this was the year that my father was going to plan a reunion for his 60th year of being in the States. Unfortunately, given COVID, he had to call it off. But I had the idea of turning it to a virtual event. And even though many were wondering, what does a virtual event mean among my father's brothers and sisters and all of the cousins in the family, we were able to get everyone online. We all connected. And while different, it was still meaningful. I'm so thankful that my father had an opportunity to celebrate a very important milestone in his life with those that he loves, his family, around the world. And the PC was the center of it. By the way, here's a time when having a high-resolution video camera, having a big display, and great mics was especially important because he wanted to see everyone, he wanted to be heard, and he wanted to make sure that everyone was as close as they could, even if it were digitally. Now, I talked about our personal lives, but also our work lives. As you know, most of work is happening for many of us remotely and via the PC. And here's where having devices that have great battery life, bright screens, all these speeds and feeds that seem to not necessarily make a difference, maybe in the office, are essential now that we're working from home. Because some rooms are bright and some rooms are darker, so you want the ability to support very bright screens. As well, you want long battery life because people are moving around their house. Most are using multiple places in their house to work throughout the day. What we are learning is that working from home all day long is very different from just working at home a couple of hours after work. And for that, the needs of the PC is dramatically changing. In fact, it's not just for work that we know of in this forum. If you think of restaurants and businesses, the PCs are helping them to get and keep their businesses going. In fact, my local neighborhood Italian restaurant was able to keep going by putting their menu online and allowing people to order and pick up their food. Just an example that the PC is keeping businesses going. Now, it's not just for our personal lives or for our professional lives, but all of those students. In fact, I have 4 at home right now, and while we're in summer, they are expecting to continue in the fall all online. Around the world, there are over 1 billion children who have been displaced from the classrooms because of the current health environment. And for that, the PC is essential. Learning is not happening unless you have a PC and you're connected into a classroom learning environment. Of course, that classroom is virtual. But you know, it's not just a story about students, it's also about teachers. Teachers are able to continue to teach and reach their students via technology. In fact, my wife is a teacher. And while this entire situation has been very disruptive for her as well, she has been able to continue teaching again by leveraging technology. We're finding that the PC is essential for not only staying productive, staying connected, but also for learning and for teaching. Now, the other important part of our lives that we are all very much paying attention to is our health. And for that, the PC is becoming increasingly important for those needs related to healthcare. In fact, 85% of doctors say that they are now using telehealth or video conferencing to see their patients. In fact, a friend of mine recently had some issues with his tonsils. And yes, believe it or not, he was able to use a webcam to give more visibility into his mouth to at least remotely diagnose and get some recommendations for next steps. Now, you can imagine that in a world where travel and being more remote is more important during this time, and while health concerns continue to rise, that this is a very important part that technology can play. It enables people to still be cared for, even if they are sheltered at home. Now, there's another part of life that is increasingly important, especially now, and that is our mental well-being. In fact, the PC is becoming the center of a lot more entertainment in the home nowadays. Not only gaming, and yes, gaming is growing across a much broader demographic, but also for those who are watching content, videos, movies on their PC. And so the PC is increasingly becoming an important part of the future of entertainment in the home. In fact, a couple of months ago, some friends of mine decided that in order to host a friend's birthday party, we would do it online. And guess what? We were able to get everyone connected and able to play an online game together along with all of our children. It was great to make sure that we can celebrate my friend, but as well make sure that we could do it in a safe way and bring in our families with us. Entertainment is not only about consuming, it's also about creating. And many companies right now are finding the power of technology to help them stay creating even if their employees are at home. In fact, we were able to enable several movie studios to allow them to stay on production schedules by remotely working on their projects via workstation solutions that we've been developing and maturing during this time. Life is very different now. Life is very disruptive. However, we are finding that the PC can be a vital part of helping people to stay connected, to stay working and productive, also to stay learning, to be cared for, and as well entertained. This is truly a time when technology is adapting to meet people's needs. So even when businesses and schools start to reopen, and we hope that they will be soon, we know that the world will continue to rely on technology, and for that, we find that we are very energized. Never in our history has been a time when the world is experiencing something so universally. And at the same time, we see this is a great time for innovation. Innovating around devices, innovating around software, innovating around services, and innovating in ways that meet the needs of what people need in their lives. This is technology meeting the needs of people where they are, whether for work, whether for play, whether for learning. It is increasingly becoming a key enabler for us. It's great to be with you here. I hope you enjoy the rest of the time. This summit is all about talking about trends and what is happening in the future. And as a part of that, I'm very excited to be a part of this entire ecosystem where technology and innovation can help make people's lives better. That is very energizing. Thank you very much. Please take care.